You're drinking coffee, aren't you? Yes.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Yes, I am drinking coffee. Just hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome again to Meet Them. I'm Troy Rawlings. Welcome to Meet the. And this evening, as you can tell, it's evening somewhere where you are. Might be daytime. I don't know. We're talking to the agent, the coordinator, the coach, the advisor, longtime friend, awesome speaker, and she'll be speaking at the Business Life and Love Brunch on November 24th, 2019. I'm giving that insight for you guys who are, but she's going to be giving a lot of key information that will be useful lifelong and year round, because that's what she does. Make some noise for Jessica Nelson.
Hello, everybody. Hola. Buenas noches. Saludos.
And she's like trilingual. I don't know if it's just bilingual. Are you bilingual or like other languages in there too?
I speak a little bit of French because I took 8 years of it, but it's at a very basic level. But I can definitely be dropped off in Africa or France or Canada, and I'll survive.
Oh, very good, very good.
Right.
I mean, for your attitude, just like, don't mess with me. Like, okay.
Pretty much.
You have to forgive us. Me and Jay go back almost 30 years.
Yes.
Because how long have you and Dee been together?
28 years.
20, yeah. So about 30, 20, yeah. 28 years.
28 years. 91.
1991. Good
Yeah.
old.
It's called That's When I Said Yes in 91.
See?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's dive right in. For those of you that don't know Jessica Nelson, and you're interested in learning more about insurances, life insurance, investments, she is a whiz, and she is about her business. So, how did you get into insurances and investments and life planning of the sort? How did you get into that course of study?
Well, I just, it's really interesting because it was not something that I wanted to do all my life. And it's life experiences that led me to come to a decision that I wanted to become a career changer. I was comfortable. I was a Spanish teacher for 18 years. I loved what I did and I was good at it. I was crazy. I loved teaching kids. Spent 15 years teaching middle school. And I just came to a realization as I started becoming more exposed to what types of things money can do, experiences, security, and getting the opportunity to not feel like there's a lot of stress. And I say that because I grew up being, a little Dominican girl from the Bronx with a single parent who, we lived in scarcity. And I know what it was like to live just getting by and trying to figure things out. And I promised myself that I didn't want to live like that. And I knew that the way that I was going to change my ability to have more and be more was to be educated. And so when I took that track, I was focused on, finding a way to do that. And I realized as I began my career as a teacher and growing in my income, that it was affording me more opportunities. And you never leave behind the experiences and stories that you have as a person when you're a kid. And it stuck with me, and it always has. I'm a person that I always feel like no matter how much I will be given, I will never forget my genuine story and what it's like not to have. And I decided that it was time after an 18-year comfortable career as a teacher that I was going to make more of an impact in my society by taking the skills as an educator, but now teaching finance.
Right.
And I knew that it was going to happen. I had to leave the classroom. And so obviously I ran some numbers at home. I got on my knees because I don't make any decisions without the Lord first. Had a lot of praying, and I prayed for 3 years to take that leap. And I finally one day woke up with the confidence, had the conversation with my husband, and I said, Patrick, it's time. I ran the numbers. We got to make some sacrifices. We got to pull the kids from private school. We got to leave where we're living at right now, put the kids in a good public school. And I want to start my own business, educating my middle income stream, my families that are making it paycheck to paycheck, and teaching them the strategies they need to not be on survival mode. There's nothing wrong with being on survival mode for a little short period of time if you're making certain sacrifices. But when you're doing it long term, you don't need to be living that way, right? Right. We are powerful beings. We are amazing creatures that have a brain. We can get out of debt. We can get out of living paycheck to paycheck, and we could live in abundance if we make certain decisions. And so what I do is try to expose people to what those decisions are, not promising that it happens overnight, but just being committed to the process.
Right. And one of the things, because we talked for a good while recently, Matt, we talked probably for about 2 hours. Right. And it feels good when you talk to someone that knows their stuff, and I'm thankful for the journey that I've had over the years. I've made ups and downs and crazy decisions, but I too come from a place of scarcity. And the main problem with that is it's what happens, like when you get from scarcity and you start young and you start, I started hustling, but I wanted to hustle legal. But then your hustle goes into your grind. And we're not supposed to be in grind and hustle mode all our lives. It turns us, if you grind gears long enough, it will destroy the machine.
Right.
So we grind and hustle, but there is something else for those who are not used to that. I'm still learning a lot. And I try to surround myself with people like you. And it just felt good to talk about that. I was blessed, like I said, years ago in the 90s, when I was still young, to meet a young man who with a company, Northwestern Mutual at the time. No, actually, Peter Tillinghast is still with Northwestern Mutual. I don't know how much. I think about that sometimes. Like, man, if I just kept that job at McDonald's and became a manager, I'd own some. I'd be Cynthia Brown right now.
Right.
But a man, all head. But so no, valuable information, and for people, I think we're as you get older, there's a sense of reality, not morbidness, but reality about life and of itself, and when we're talking about insurances and life insurances, but also about investments. And people hear so much because every time you look up, someone is doing some kind of financial advising. The reason for one, we've known each other, like I said, almost 30 years. But if not more, if not 30 years. And the fact that I've seen the track record of you and your family, of what you have built and how you went through everything and the way you handle it. And we want to emulate. We emulate a lot of we keep up with the Joneses. I don't think anybody has ever met the Joneses. Right. But we don't look at the people in our grasp and say, hey, how did you do A, B, C, and D? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I like, your openness about talking about key things and sitting down with people and saying, hey, start where you are. And I think that's the gospel right now, the good news to somebody, that doesn't matter where you are, you can start where you are.
Right.
And especially for those, as entrepreneurs, it's harder for us because it's like feast and famine sometime, and we're building a machine and da-da-da. But for those that work a gig and get a paycheck every week, they'd be astonished how quickly they can move things. It's just getting out of the language. So what's the key thing that you would say to that person who's working, gets a paycheck every week, feels like it's a grind, it's a struggle, be it the single mom, married couple who's just trying to figure it out, and they want to live life, but they like you said, the paycheck to paycheck, but they still driving the nice car, and they still doing the vacation,
right?
But their stress at home is they were like, if we don't have these vacations, we're gonna have a divorce.
Right.
Because their stress is so high. When you
Right.
say to what's a tidbit you can give them? Because I know we can talk for hours, me and you can talk for hours about the different tools and things you can give them. But what are some tidbits that you can give them on top of just saying, look, you guys, first off, you need life insurance. But how does that machine work for them? Some people don't know that your life insurance can become an investment tool.
Yeah, it can become an investment tool. And what you have, I feel like the most important thing that I've learned in my journey, that has been an absolute blessing to get the revelation. I could talk numbers all day because I love it. Because numbers never lie, right? So there's no gray area. Numbers always tell a story. But before you even tell the story of your numbers, you got to start with yourself first. And you got to understand your spirituality behind the numbers. What are you chasing, right? So the first thing you got to do first is go inside to find out, how does money drive you? You have a relationship with money. It's a relationship. Like when you are married to somebody, when you're dating somebody, your daughter, your son, you have a relationship with money. And the minute you start understanding that relationship, is that money dictating you or you dictating money? Do you love money? Do you hate it? What was it like you growing up? Was it a romantic endeavor? It was something that people never talked about. Did you always relate your money as something that was stressful? So you gotta unveil that first and get the layers out for you to then understand why you make the choices that you do with money now. And the minute you start understanding that, then you could say, okay, I know what my relationship is. I know what I want to do with it. Now I got to start first and foremost paying myself first. And why is that so important? Because emergencies will always be there. Unexpected things that arise will always be there. But what you have to do is pay yourself first, because you are your biggest asset. There's no other bigger asset. It's not your house.
Right.
That's the most expensive thing that we buy. But in fact, the biggest asset that you have is you. Because if you don't exist, you're not healthy, you don't produce income. So it's really important that you are looking at yourself as your biggest asset. And once you understand that, you say, the money that comes through my hands, I will always put 10 to 15% of that in a separate account. And so it's really, once you start doing that and having that habit, your money will grow. But what you don't want is the money to grow to let it sit there, because money's energy. You want the money flowing and moving to make more of it for you.
Right.
So that's currency. It's current, it's moving, it's flowing, it's energy, like we're energy. So it's really critical and pertinent that you're figuring out, where do I want it to go so it can grow? Am I giving it to my community? Am I putting it in a project? Am I opening a business? Am I lending it out on an interest of return? You got to look at yourself as a business. And if you work as a teacher, look at your money as a business. If you are a nurse, handle your money like a money manager. Everybody has to start looking at it that way, because money is coming through our hands for years. We're spending 20, 30 years, money going through our hands. But what do we have to show for it? And so it's critical that if you start having the habit of having money coming in and paying yourself first, down the road, you will always have money for emergencies. You will always have money for investments or anything that is unexpected that arises. So you have to pay yourself first. Not first.
I want you to hit something real quick, because I'm gonna, and people can see you can watch this whole interview on YouTube, on IGTV piece. I want you to right now give people your information, how they can get in touch with you. But I'm going to unpack something for a couple more minutes, and you can see the rest of this on YouTube. But give people your information of how to get in touch with you right now.
Well, you can get in contact with me via email. I'm constantly on my inbox. It's YOU, because you matter. It's about you, at invest-vest.org. That's my email. My website is just like that, invest.org, in-vest.org. I have some great information on my website, newsletters, info on how to manage money. And every month I update it to provide you with information that I feel is just going to help you just to every day, just grow a little bit more, because that's what it's about, really. Just planting the seeds and then just taking one step at a time and just getting some little tidbit that's going to make the light go off and say, I need to start doing that. I need to start utilizing this tactic or whatever the case may be. So you can definitely connect that way.
I want to go back because you said something very key. Mm-hmm. Just give me one tool that people can do to help them unveil their relationship with money, so they get a good feel for what their relationship, because that was a key thing you said. And I've heard people say it before. I've heard Tony Robbins say it before, and some people, and of course, Tony Robbins, you get with him and you listen to an hour program, or if you're going to one of his retreats, you with him for like a week. And if you love what I said, say aye.
Right. Right.
You know, you can't sleep at Tony's events.
Right.
So what's one thing you can give people that will help them unpack? Because you gave it, and I think we don't do it enough. You gave money a personality.
Yes.
You said whatever money's personality is in your life, that's how you relate to it.
Right.
So, and it's a good thing to know, you know, how was money introduced to you? As a child, I can trace back why I got my first job at 12. I got it because I went to my parents asking them for money to get something. And when they were together, it was this weird thing. I was like, I ain't got no money. And look at her, and she was like, I ain't no money either. I was like,
mm-hmm.
When I came back, my mother was on the phone. She was like, where have you been? I had pizza dough all on me. I got my first job. A lot about my age. I was like, I was at work. Turned my back on. She was like, girl, this boy ain't got a job.
Right. Right.
Once I found out I can get a job, it was a wrap. I was like, I can get a job. But it wasn't, there was never we're proud of you for having a job. There was never that scenario. It was just that because they had some kind of weird energy around money,
mm-hmm.
it propelled me to go out here and do it like this. I didn't want to do some of the things that I saw was going on in the house. So that was a very key. Even when you just said that was like, man, I really have to unpack that more in the midst of everything, so that it's not I'm teaching my daughter certain things about money now with what she gets. Talked to her about tithing the other day. Talked to Zoe about tithing the other day. I was like, you give 10%. You got a good amount of little money for your birthday. You give 10%. She was like,
right, huh? Right. What do you mean I gotta give this up?
You give to the church, and it helps the church give. And you know how we go to church and we have all this, and then we help other people. It helps with that. She was like, I was like, do you want to? She's like, I said, look, I can't make you. That's something you got to want to do. And I kind of left it alone.
Right.
We went to church on Sunday. She was like, can I still get my offering today? I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was good because that wasn't something I was taught.
Right.
That was one principle. But there's a children's book on Rockefeller that talks about when he had his first lemonade stand and make 10 cents a week or whatever it was. And his mother taught him to take 10% of that, and you donate it, you give your tithe, and and in the book it said it wasn't a lot when it was 10 cents a week, but when it became 10 million a week, you know what I'm saying? But the principle, we don't hear a lot about the beginning principles. I have a couple books on Warren Buffett, but unless you go, people may look at Warren Buffett and they're like, but they don't hear about him having a photographic memory and his father being in finance. You know what I'm saying? So certain things, like you said, what was the relationship with money? And such a key thing. So what's one tool you can give, or one thing you can give somebody to sit down, write out, to start looking at their the origin of their relationships with money?
Well, there are a lot of, if you go on Google, there are actually a lot of quizzes that you can actually take on Google. All you got to do is go on Google and say, find out my money personality. There are tons of quizzes that you can it'll come up, and you take these quizzes and you will get results that will show you what your money personality actually is. I don't want to give you one specific one because there's so many. I would say just take a couple just to kind of see. and just to see which ones kind of work for you. But you will find that it's dead on, and you will say, wow, that is really me. Because the choices we make is how we spend. The choices we make based on our money personality is how we save. So it's our personality that's actually dictating how we manage it when it comes in.
Right. Right. Very good. All right. I'm not going to hold you too long because we are already in the 20-minute mark. But I'm letting you guys know, especially if you're in the DMV, the Baltimore area, Jessica Nelson will be in the building for the Business Life and Love Brunch, Cancun Cantina Taboo Talk Weekend, November 22nd through the 24th. But November 24th, that Sunday, is when we're doing the Business Life and Love Brunch. Should be speaking on life insurance. What are some of the things you're going to be speaking on? You have about 20 minutes to half an hour to speak. What's some of the things you're going to touch on there?
Well, I really am really excited to get some of the myths that are debunked about life insurance. I think that a lot of us think of life insurance as just a death benefit, the thing we have to protect our assets, to get it on the home, protect our home. But in actuality, life insurance has a multitude of amazing ways that it can actually not only increase your growth, it's a tax deferred instrument. It allows us to save money with wonderful interest versus what's out there right now and the type of gains that we can make. If you're a business owner, how you can be able to insure your business so that if you are not in some way in the capacity to operate your business, that insurance will protect that business. And that's what we call key insurance. So if you're a business owner and you need your business to be insured so that the day of tomorrow, when you're gone, that insurance is there to allow that business to keep operating, to give that asset to your family or your heirs, whatever the case may be. It's a college savings plan. You can use a life insurance to save for your kids' college education. There are no specificities that are attached to it. So if you spend 10, 15 years contributing to a life insurance plan to help your child to go to college, and they say, well, I don't want to go to college. I want to take a 1-year sabbatical and I want to travel to Europe for a year and I want to see the world and then I want to start. Guess what? You've already funded that dream. We need to think outside the box. I think we're too inside the box. And we want to listen to what everybody's telling us in HR and TV about qualified plans. But in reality, there are other ways that we can be able to fund the dreams of the things that we want and enjoy the money today, not when we croak. And so I'm going to be talking about all that and how we actually do it.
I love that scientific words you just used, croak.
Yeah, so I'm telling you.
And just
why is it? Yeah, well, why are we spending 20, 30 years working for our kids to be the only heirs that enjoy our money? Why can't we enjoy it while we're actually saving for it? Right? That's what life is supposed to be about. We're powerful beings that have the right to be able to enjoy our lives, not at the end, but while we're living it, because tomorrow's not promised.
That's right. Yep. Jessica Nelson. One more time, give them your, also your Instagram, give them your Instagram, any way they can contact you. Invest.org, IN-VEST.org is the website. Any other information you want to give them, Jessica, before we get out of here?
Instagram, same thing, Invest, it's actually Invest Consulting, IN- because it's inside people. When we go inside ourselves and we understand who we are as people, we make better choices and we're happier with the way we spend and save and grow our money. So I look forward to connecting with you. Any questions that you have, hit me up on my email, on my Instagram or Facebook, which is also Invest Consulting. I would love to chat with you. You can even DM me, but I would love to talk to you about plans and whatever it is you would like to pursue.
That's good. And we'll get her take on some relationship stuff. It's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, I'm ready for that. 28 years, I have a lot of juicy stories.
Juicy. She's uncut. Don't let the business side fool you. She gets raw. She is. All right, Jay. Love you. Thank you so much for taking time out. And I'll talk to you in a bit. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to Meet the. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.